Bay of Plenty iwi were once all on the same waka to get the Rena off the Otaiti Reef. So why was Te Arawa the first to jump ship?
Reporter Yvonne Tahana went to speak to the man who the tribe ultimately put their faith in to make their decision.
Te Arawa's had a man behind the camera and under the water for 3 years. He's a hard case who can see the light side of a heavy situation.
Because of my mass, I'm just a ball of muscle, you see. Because of that, I carry very little body fat. I feel the cold very easily. Diving's diving to me, you know, whether if it's under the water, it's pure enjoyment. Been diving for well over 20 years. Commercially, I've been abroad working for varying salvage companies on oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. I was directly involved with the BP oil spill.
It's now been over a week since the Deepwater Horizon rig exploded and sank beneath the waves.
We had to come up with engineered solutions to look at recovering a lot of the oil that was released from it. So there was a bit of that. Came back to New Zealand. We developed an idea. It was tried and tested in Lake Rotomar. They've commissioned the idea and put it on a lot of the rigs as part of their ongoing safety requirements.
So it wasn't surprising he was the man Te Arawa turned to when disaster struck the Otaiti.
Out there in the port of Tauranga is a massive vessel. It's run aground, it's laden with cargo, but more importantly, with fuel oil.
The trip out to the wreck site is a familiar one for Joe. What's unfamiliar to many is the close relationship Te Arawa struck up with Rena representatives.
Where's the lane, the shipping lane?
Well, it should be 2 miles that way.
2 miles out?
Yeah.
So what was he doing here?
Well, that's a good question. He made a big mistake. Yeah.
Our people, Te Arawa, wanted to validate that information, and the only way to do so was to put a diver under the water. It's like anything, we can be handed information in text, and you know how we take that, whether we take it as gospels is a different story. But being given that opportunity to be able to hop under the water and validate the information was second to none.
He went in wanting the wreck gone.
That was the stance I took prior to putting my head under the water. Was, you know, this can be removed. You're taken by awe first because of the expense. You're like, whoa, that shouldn't be there. That should be on the surface. So that's the feeling you get. I wouldn't say it's a scary feeling. It's just not a natural thing to see.
Is it a safe place to dive yet?
Well, I've dived there 19 times. We've had all the...
But you're an expert.
Oh, well. Joe, is it safe to dive this area?
Yeah, it's relatively safe.
It's when you know...
After 23 dives, trawling through hours and hours of footage and a mountain of research, Joe's position changed. This trip's about explaining the why to his own. Separated by the contours of the reef, the true scale of the wreck becomes apparent in this animation.
This is one of the most difficult wreck to remove, purely because of the position that it's in, the amount of time it's going to take, and the manpower that it would require. And in doing so, you're literally carrying a small-sized town and hovering it over the reef with huge structures and machinery and literally tearing away at the reef. I looked at all facets of engineering. It's literally the to-do hard basket. There's been a significant change from when I first saw the wreck, because there's been 2 major shifts in the hull itself due to various storms we've had. From the shifts and seeing strewn debris and more debris when you should be seeing less debris. But when I went back on probably the last 4 dives, seeing it to date now, the change has been astronomical. It does actually look quite picturesque, and the wreck, or the remnants of the wreck, have integrated themselves really well into the reef structure, because they've got a lot of flora and fauna on. The benthic life is beginning to grow, so it's beginning to look somewhat natural now. Yeah.
The pressure below's nothing compared to that surface side.
It's quite funny. I tend to take pressure quite well, but this particular job in the last year, I suppose, is becoming very, very daunting and heavy, in the sense that I've made a decision not only for Te Arawa as my people, but I've made a decision, or helped contribute to a final decision for the rest of New Zealand, sort of thing. So a burden, yeah, well, I wonder why I don't sleep at night. I've been inundated with emails. I don't know how people get my email address, and you get phone calls of people sort of effing this, effing that. It's all your fault, and at the end of the day, I've got to wear that. I'm prepared to carry that burden, and I believe I have made the right decision.
It's the calm before the storm as Te Arawa faces off with those who want full wreck removal during September's resource consent hearing.